Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing playthrough of WarPlan, and we're doing our very, very modified Barbarossa. Now, spent a little time looking around before starting recording, not really moving much or making many decisions, so you're getting the full thing. But we can see here these units that are withdrawing back out here, even though we've cut the railways from here back to there, it looks like, and from like what here back to there. I don't think, you know, we did one relatively decent, and we have this one little unit left here. Pocket, I really, yeah, look at, we just have one unit here. I really don't think pocketing is really in the plans for this, and excuse me, that is sort of in the basic how to get victories with the Soviet Union. Now that doesn't mean that I think, sorry, I bumped everything here. Victory isn't likely, because this is totally, even though we've had to, I really didn't anticipate this being a mech unit here, way back here and over here, to be able to come in and cut off and force us back out of my cop to make sure that we get supplies. So yeah, and unfortunately we're unable to land that force. Thought we could have. So this still, like I say, still really upends the possibilities here. So we're pushing down that way. But yeah, no, I don't think any great I'm turning this audio down because it really does the air. 4-1. Well, instead of like, oh, I should have done more airstriking. Not that this is going to be super strong, but I'm going, I want to take that. Okay, yeah, it's down by 2. Now we're turning the audio down even more. My speakers. Too much. There we go. A little bit of 4-1. Okay, shatters. Very good. 2-1 there. Okay. Some way to get it to do shore bombardment, I think. No, undo that last little bit. Oh, it's not letting me undo that. Damn, okay, well that isn't my favorite option. Move that up to there, move that up to there. That can cause a little bit of chaos. Now I know I have mechanized forces there. I just okay, they surrender, very good, nice. They can come there. That would be better. Well, okay, I guess we can do that as a 10-to-1 shattering force. That's useful. Now, 2, 4. Okay, well. Yeah, I'm not really planning on attacking there. It's a light hit, but we would like to get Minsk. Attack with just a 2, and there we go, that gets us Minsk. Now, to me this is just a pedestrian, shall we say. I mean that in several ways. Advance into the Soviet Union, but hey, it gets us there, as it were. That's 5, okay, that's 4. Okay, it's not quite like I was hoping. Oh, well, they can come to there. Shatters that. Even weak units can later on become a problem. Oh. Just like airstrikes. And shatters, very good. Ooh, we could do that. And shatters, very good, very good. I'm so glad I got that shattered. Now you can come to here. You can, let's see, do we want to go up or down? Well, that could become a problem there, so we're going to move. Well, worried about them cutting back into here, so oh no, zone of control should stop that. Just in case we get to here, use the river just in case if somehow they can get past all this. Let's move you up to there. I've used the Air Force instead of moving the Air Force up, so we'll see about that, but 6 to 1. Now down here, let's see if we can, well, no, let's and shatter the force. Very good. I like that. Okay, what is the odds? 5 to 1 there. Let's just move you to here. 9 to 1. Just, yeah, shatter. Okay. I think, shall we say, economically, that is more useful. Just to fully get it done. I'm sort of also trying to move the Yugoslavians down this way to keep them within their headquarters range, trying to keep the Italians up here near their headquarters range. Well, we may get them all the way to there. So, don't know if having some of this green and considered Italian conquest and others German has any effect at all on the game. I just don't know that it does. I don't. Some games like Hearts of Iron, it does have an effect. And I don't mean just like who gets what resources, but supply tracing and other things. So I'm just maybe a little overly sensitive to some of it. Okay, Italians attack. Got a little wounded there. Okay, well, may have not been the best choice. Made by me. Okay, now I want to get him out here because these other units may be able to, you know, be a bit vulnerable to, excuse me, to counterattack by that Soviet armor. Oh, very good. Didn't quite shatter it or anything, but, well, you've got 2 attacks. Okay, that didn't quite take him down. That did push them back though. That's good. Okay, well, now. Three to 2, that is What would that be? 3-1. That is... Sure. Now, 4-1. Let's try running all these guys out of their fuel. Oh, good. Got that pushed up to there. Okay, you come there. We're going to circle this guy. Overstraining this unit, close of shadows of those guys, which did not happen. Could that do it? Yes. Oh, great. Oh, good. So good to get these army units. I think they're, because I'm looking at their core strengths and I'm not quite, they're probably weak cores. Let's see. I sometimes get this wrong. I'm sorry. And I know some people have, one guy recently, and though one guy gets heard that my history talks slow down the gameplay a lot. I know. But if I'm not mistaken, and sorry if I am, I should be more sure of these things, but Soviet divisions in the 1930s were really big affairs. They were found to be very cumbersome to manage with their level of leadership, and you know, we know about the Stalinistic purges. So the leadership was not only poor, but just scared to death. You know, they were just scared, you know, to be too good because he might be a threat. Just if you were too, you know, functional, not just ideologically problematic, but that. So leadership was a serious problem. Training levels, just not just leadership, but just, you know, how do I put this? Military operations, they talk about friction in military operations, and we can see some of that here in this game is stacking limits kind of thing. And with some of my, you know, units trying to get, you know, well, here we're sort of, we've used up a lot of our movement. I know we still have a few here. These guys, I just didn't know if we were going to parachute anywhere, and they wasn't really needed, and I haven't moved them yet. These guys should move up, but it's just, you know, how many units can move down a roadway at a time, you know, and problems with that, you know, so that they talk about friction in that operation. So you get two highly trained companies or battalions, it doesn't matter, but from two different divisions that have never worked together, and has, and some armies are much higher in this tradition than others, but has nobody that's worked or, you know, ever been in either, you know, company or battalion, and they're from different command structures. So like in an American example, one is from a division that's stationed on the West Coast and one is on the East Coast. You know, they're from two different divisions, these battalions, and nobody in these different divisions has transferred between either of them, so no one knows, oh, well, in that division they like to do it this way or whatever. So these two highly trained, and that's not the case of what the Soviet army was at any of the stages, but two highly trained units that have never worked together and can have very different functionings. It's like sandpaper, you know, even though they're highly trained and motivated and leadership, where if you take two companies from the same battalion that train together, work together, it's more like, I don't know, like, you know, well-oiled machine parts working together instead of sandpaper. So, you know, just training levels, and it's training together. It's creating the, an organization. So it's not just the leadership, it's just the guys knowing how everyone does their jobs kind of thing, is an element, which was an element with the Soviets. And then you get to the sort of technological communicative elements to the situation. And so if you have a large formation, but it's a densely packed formation, think like 18th century or Napoleonic warfare, when you have a battalion and everybody's marching shoulder to shoulder, basically. So, yeah. One guy, you can tell, can shout loud enough to everybody, if it's quiet enough, shout loud enough so the entire battalion, right face, and everybody turns to the right, left face, and he can see the whole damn thing. So one guy can command that whole battalion. You don't even need, left, and everyone, and then the, like platoon commanders, left, they all shout it, face. And then they all shout face because, they hear the one. And so, repeat the commands to the unit is how often the armies would work and that kind of thing. And so you can command it as a single person, a battalion. Okay, take a World War II battalion. It's spread out too much that you can't even, in a combat situation, shout and be heard, at all. And you can't see what they're all doing. And you can't command that. The spread of the formation gets bigger. Now, in World War I, it varies from army to army and situation to situation, of course. It's complicated would be a good term. But generally speaking, you have a fairly dense arrangement of formations where, especially like on the West Front, and even in World War I on the East Front too, because you have artillery, but artillery is, I'm just not imagining them like in a divisional level having field telephones in World War I in the Russian army. I acquired when I was a kid many years ago, just packed away 2 World War I field telephones as part of a veteran's trunk and equipment I got, and that still work, and that they're field telephones that set up there. And he was an artillery officer, lieutenant, and so the Americans at the end of the war had field telephones. I'm going, did they really have field telephones? I don't, now you can probably prove me wrong somewhere in some guards division, but I'm just not imagining the Russian army having lots of field telephones run around in World War I. I could be entirely wrong about that, but I'm just not imagining that. I'm imagining, have the artillery fire at, 2:30 in the afternoon. Okay, here, write that in a message, and you take that over to the artillery at these locations. And then that artillery, at 2:30, that's say an hour from now, because you want to know when it not fire when you're ready, give them enough time. And they fire, so you're watching your clock, your watch or whatever. How many Russian officers even had freaking watches? I don't know, maybe all the officers. I can't imagine most enlisted men having, or even NCOs having watches. But, fire, and I'm not talking about the sort of close support, artillery, the idea that the guys, the battery commander is looking at the target through his own binoculars. That's one way of, looking at it, and he's like directing the fire. I'm talking about, hey, they're, a ways back there, they're behind the wood, if we scale this out, not such big scale on this, they're behind the woods shooting at this over here, they're shooting that kind of thing. So these howitzers, they can't see Minsk, obviously it'd be much closer to Minsk in reality, but you understand what I mean. So these guys back here, I don't know that they have field telephones like halt, ceasefire, like our, wave of troops is getting near the target, so you cease it. No, they just, fire, and they're, the command is to fire 10 rounds. So they all know they fire 10 rounds or whatever at Minsk, and lots of artillery blows up. And so, at 2:30 they start their advance. The artillery goes off as they're advancing, and as they get closer, they've run out of their 10 rounds, so they don't keep firing even if they have more ammo. And so you go in and attack. So you can have a denser packed formation, shall we say, and control it with less problems. Well, by World War II, and particularly like in armored formations, they find, particularly they find in the Winter War, which I would hazard to guess that losing the Winter War does the Soviet Union a lot of good. Because had it won, even with those tremendous casualties and problems that they had, and in a way they sort of kind of did, but actually, occupied Helsinki and taken it all over, which I think was the real plan, not just to get a border adjustment. But had they won that, I don't think it would have been enough of a shock to the system to get them to, learn from their mistakes. I could be entirely wrong about this. It's just speculation. And not that they wouldn't have learned anything, but not the sort of critical lessons that they did learn. So the Soviet Union is going through, in sort of 1940, early 41, before all this breaks out, readjustments. And I don't know it gets to what divisions and what corps, but they go smaller. So definitely by the time you're talking around 1942, and you see a map and, oh, this Soviet tank division is here. Okay. Think in, say, American or German terms, Soviet tank brigade, as that's what its relative strengths are. So so I don't know what my friend Alvaro, I'm going to call him my friend the dev of this. Yeah, good. Shatters it, great. I think we'll hold that pocket. Yeah, it'll be worth getting that up there. Keep the gameplay moving somewhat. So, is thinking about with all of the different elements, we don't need to go up and touch them right now. Let's see, we'll move this up to here. We'll move this over to here. I don't think they're going to lunge at my HQs just to do so here. Because we're not that weak. So, yeah, so the forces are, by these symbols, generally weaker by the time you're getting into the 40s. Now, I suspect some of the initial strengths along here were also, and I don't know this, and maybe he said somewhere, Italy is low oil stockpiles, okay, that there may be an event that partisan activity, right, okay, right. That is units low supply. Yeah, he's heading back. They're heading. The Italians are heading back to are back in the port now. Is weakened organizationally, and so they have to build up. So I think they're going to get stronger if we let them live. A lot stronger. I think they're, shall we say, event-driven, somewhat weaker than actuality. So the more we can get down. Okay, convoys to Italy 20. Well, so let's cancel this trade. Let's Germany to Italy. Create trade. Okay, oh, we gotta give the values. They had 20. Let's go with 30 oil. We got massive amounts of oil. Trade. Okay, so that should be giving them a lot more oil. I don't know if it's enough, but it's more. Okay. What we want to do is we want to come to here with that unit. Come up to there with that unit. We want to fly our bombers up to here. 2 to 1. Yep. Oh. And we got it. And we don't have the ability to occupy Algiers unless we do that. Yep, we're going to do that. That is a risky move, but I think it's worth it, as seeing as it's a reserve unit. So if now it converts to a regular unit, its turn, it won't be able to attack, and reserve units have a bonus in defense, but attack at only half strength. So it would be a 1 strength unit if it were, or effectively if it were to attack. So I think we're good, and we got Algiers. Hopefully we don't see real partisans breaking out. I don't think we do that here. Okay, so far, I mean, they've got Britain's air, and they'll probably keep falling the air back. Like I say, the only thing I'm really worried about is a serious ground force reinforcement there. And other than, well, instead of reacting, let's act. Okay. Now we're going to convert that and down there to active status. So next turn we will be able to advance them forward if need be, or just anyways. Okay. Well, I don't know that they're doing any good back there, so let's move these guys up. Let's move these up to here. Okay, so the Italian army moving up there. Don't know what to do with these guys. Yeah, I guess we'll move them up as infantry right now. This needs to move to here to help them under proper command. Those there, we can see the Hungarian army there. Yugoslav, Romanian, and that's out of command control distance there, but we'll see about that. Well, okay, we don't want those guys cut off again. That'll protect the air from being attacked. Yeah, they can cut there, but that'll just give us back this railway. So they're sort of trapped now instead of flowing back. And well, the unit over here on the Sea of Marmara, don't think it's doing us much good there. So we're going to put it on railways. Okay, so we cannot use European. Oh, I guess it doesn't transfer across here. Okay, oh, there is a dirt road there, or well, not a dirt road, but a non-rail road. So we probably could move them on European rails if we were there. Oh, we can move here now. I guess we've owned them long enough. Oh, let me be. Oh, well, let's get these guys to work. That may be what I was seeing before. Supply. Okay, yeah, I think what we're seeing here is the rails being fixed, maybe. In here. I don't know. Sorry, I don't have all the answers. I know. Some people go, you should have all the answers. You're supposed to know all this stuff. That'd be nice. Well, we need you in the mountains. Oh, we can come up this side. I also want to try to make sure I'm holding this. There we go. Oh, no. Let's undo that. You're how far could we get on railways? No, that ain't worth it. And you're marching on that would be one rail movement. Wasted there. Okay, so we have that. The Italian HQ is taking way effing too long to get up there. I guess it's still better to keep it moving now at this point, but well, come back to that. Port here for now. I think we have some subs to send out. There we go. I know they're a bit damaged. Hopefully they'll still be effective. Okay, let's look at production. Stockpiles woefully low. And for Germany, we have a lot of stuff coming though. We have some security divisions ready. That's good. Deploy. Yeah, I think just no. Here, but on the railways. Get ready to move as needed. No, we're not deploying the airbase right now. Well, I think next turn we'll get 20 more merchant marines, which will help with our various supply problem, oil shifting, resource shifting between various places problems. So that will be good. Yeah, not a bad campaign, but not a brilliant campaign of advance. Went deep into the enemy, as it were, or anything like that. But we've executed one good pocket. Some other minor stuff, killed some, hopefully, critical units. No supply source, right? Okay, well. Right, well, they've withdrawn back, so they had been up to there. Yeah, they were low on supplies, they've fallen back. Yeah, they've fallen back. Okay. So let's see how this turn goes. Are you sure? Yes. Not terribly, but yes, we'll do this. Okay. Oh, Vichy North Africa surrenders. Very good. Just getting Algiers. Okay, they struck up. Ooh. Did they hurt my subs? Okay, they went and I was worried about that. They said getting the air units. Temporary cutting off the supplies, which isn't good, isn't helpful, but we can trace some other railways. Well, not entirely so. Oh, that's not good. Okay. I mean, we'll get it back, but that's highest priority right now. At least in this field, more so than pushing on to kill that unit. Okay, yep, more merchant marine, more supply trucks. Vichy North Africa surrenders. Stockpile, okay, attack, yes. Germany lacking, yes, we know that. Italy low oil stockpiles, okay. Well, Nope, not good enough. You can only hit that unit, which probably will. Fall on its own, and it took all of my activity points, and we did not kill it. Not the best outcome there. Oh, well, we can probably take this without much difficulty. That will get us back to there. Well, yeah, that'll at least get rails flowing this way up to here. Keep that supply element moving. Okay, so Italy has got all of this, and we don't have an armor unit. Yeah, I know. I forget who. Sorry. You guys said, hey, you should use an one of them Italian armor mechanized forces. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but it just, I think the critical win or lose is here. Okay. Partisan activity, let's see. Oh, we gotta deal with this stuff here. Well, that's what you're here for. Don't know, that might have been a partisan that was going to, unlike here, actually spawn a unit. You come back to port. How badly are you shot up? A little bit, but not bad. You know, I don't know if they're great mountain units or anything, but I got mountain units and I got mountains to fight in, but they're not. Two to one. Well, we can muster. A little more important. We still technically hold my cop, so that's good. Now, can we get you somewhere useful? Well, I guess to here. Okay, well, yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this German corps. I mean, not here, but leave it in North Africa and maybe move it either, I don't know, to Oran or Rabat. Or down here at the port. Now, actually, I think Oran is probably better because if they can hold here and we can hold Algiers and Oran, but hold here, they probably might not be able to get by us. Where here, I don't know. I'm going to move some of the Italian units up to cover the port, particularly. And we can move a few more, yeah, some of these corps from there. Okay, yeah, we're seeing massively. Oh, that would be so lovely to have that as a pocket in there, but just the lack of armor has really been a problem. I think ultimately we'll do well by taking, down here, but definitely weakened our main thrust. But I think we'll get more supply coming up now that that's been moved to there. Okay, well, I think we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you would, please, you don't know how important it is if you just say hi in the comment section, any sort of comments. And, of course, subscribe if you haven't already, but most of you by this time in the video, you've subscribed if you're still here. See you next time for more historical gaming.